The dead and missing in that 757 hijacked airliner attack on the Pentagon that was such a devastating blow to America's military headquarters. At least 800 people in the Pentagon alone were killed in that attack. I'm joined on the phone now by Tom Clancy, who is a real authority on American security and, of course, one of the world's best-known authors of terrorist attacks in fictional form. He once wrote a book called Debt of Honor that ended with a 747 crashing into the U.S. Capitol. Tom, it turns out the truth is much stranger and much more devastating than fiction.
Well, Tom, it always is. And, you know, one of the problems with being a writer of fiction is keeping up with all the perversity of the real world. It's just a horrible event. And, it's all, we're talking over 10,000 American dead, and that's about as bad as it gets.
When you first heard these reports today of hijacked planes being flown into the Twin Trade Towers and into the Pentagon, what was your initial reaction?
I wouldn't have written this into a novel because I would not have regarded it as a credible threat. 4 people willing to give their lives up for their cause in a period of a few hours. That's not very. It's just hard to grasp. It's hard to wrap your mind around something like that.
Well, the other thing that we have to say is that this was a very efficient, in a cold-blooded fashion, and a very sophisticated and a very complex operation that didn't happen in just the last 48 hours or so.
Well, obviously, there were some months or weeks or months or potentially even years of preparation went into this. I mean, pardon me for putting it this way, but it was a beautifully planned operation. They just, Pearl Harbor achieved tactical surprise and achieved the objective of the Japanese Navy, so this operation achieved the objective of its perpetrators.
We want to put on the screen now, Tom, and have you watch it at home as well. This is the tracking that we had earlier today of these airliners that took off from Boston's Logan Field. And as you can see, it was very shortly after takeoff that they make a hard left turn and head for New York Harbor and the World Trade Center. We were told that they were armed with knives, but this hijacking all happened very quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the radar track now. It's somewhat surprising that the air traffic control system wasn't alerted by this, but I don't know I'm not a pilot. I don't know the ins and outs of that.
Well, one of the things that happened apparently is that the hijackers were so sophisticated they knew to turn off the transponders. So they had this kind of a track on them, but they didn't have the radar track that they would normally have, or the radio traffic that they would have with the air traffic controllers.
Well, that'd be one explanation of it, I guess. But again, I'm not an airline pilot. I don't know the ins and outs of that system. I really can't comment on it intelligently. You
do know a lot about the perils that exist in the modern world and the high technology that is available to just about everyone out there. You think that there's a full appreciation, certainly there may be by the end of this day, a full appreciation across America, even in the highest echelons of our government and our corporate life, of the real threat of terrorism?
Well, certainly this event has brought things pretty close to home for everybody. I mean, we've got, again, more than 10,000 Americans have probably lost their lives today. And that's 10,000 families who have learned the hard way that terrorism is quite real.
Give you any pause about writing additional fiction about terrorist attacks?
No, I have no such plans. But I'm not going to, you don't try to make money off things like that. It just isn't ethical.
All right, Tom Clancy, thank you very much for being with us.